Hey infidels out there trying to save you some money today. What we're going to do is we got a sump pump problem. So those of you who know what a sump pump is, it's that pump in a hole in your basement that keeps water from flooding your basement. So right here is ours. And if my camera person could show it down in here. As you can see, it's full of water and it ain't pumping. So it started filling up last night and I realized it wasn't working. We tried to do this makeshift balloon to give it a little more buoyancy because you can make it pump by pulling that string. But if you look down in there, you'll see that as the water gets pumped out, that this sump pump is in dire need of replacement. So that's what we're going to do today. Hopefully save you a little bit of money. You could probably call a plumber out to do it. Cost you $500 maybe, I don't know. Or you can go to Home Depot and get yourself a sump pump. Lowe's carries them, you can get them at Walmart. We got the 3/10 power Everbuilt pump with a 5-year warranty. It's about $148. So we're gonna throw it in here and we'll see how it works and we'll let you know how it goes. As you can see, the pipes from under the floor are filling this with water fast as we can pump it out just about. So I've got to get that pump changed before we have a major flood here in the basement. So we'll get that going. I gotta cut this, I'm gonna cut this pipe out right here and here. I'm gonna put a new check valve in there so we don't have to cut the pipe if we ever have to change it again. So we'll put this check valve in here, put the new sump pump in, connect it all up, and we'll be in business. We'll be right back after a second. I gotta cut that pipe and then we'll start on the rest of the program. If you don't unplug your sump pump before you start cutting, you're gonna get wet. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Pull that baby right out. It just lifts right out of there once you disconnect the pipe. And as you can see, it's pretty dang crusty and need a replacement. This is the switch here that was failing to work. There was just enough upward pressure to get it to work, so I think that switch is slowly wearing out. So we'll replace it, get a new one in here. So here it goes. So I gotta do a little work here to get this pipe off of here so I can reuse it hopefully, and then we'll go from there. All right, so we need this pipe. We're gonna reuse it. It's a 1.5 inch pipe. You could go buy one, but the whole point saving money. We'll just reuse this one. Whoops. There we go. So we can just use that. So we're just wrapping the pipe, the female or the male connector with silicone tape so that it won't leak. Pipe dope's probably better, but I don't have any, so we'll put this on. It's not that crucial because this is just down at the bottom of the sump, so it's really just to make sure we don't lose any pressure, because if it does leak, it's not a huge deal. That's gonna, again, that's a 1.5 inch male connector. And that should screw right on there. There we go. There we go. All right, good to go. Next, we're gonna go ahead and put some, this is medium pipe cement, all yellow weather stuff for PVC pipes. Again, this is not gonna be a pressure fitting, but you wanna clean the pipe off, or you're gonna be, I'm using 80 grit sandpaper to just kind of clean the pipe off where it's going to fit in, so that we have a good clean connection. And I just flipped it over because this is where I'm going to put the check valve. I'm just a home do-it-yourself guy, but I guarantee you, if you can do this, and it'll save you some money. Since that the check valve is going to take in the downspout pipe, we're going to cut that pipe so that the check valve will fit in there nicely. And I am using a Sawzall to cut this stuff because it's a lot easier. So here's the check valve. Together like this on that downspout, and I'll actually be putting it at the top up here. What it does is when water goes in here, take this off here so you can see, there's a little valve in there. See it? And that valve, when the water goes up through your pipe, that valve opens, and then it doesn't allow the water to go back down into your sump. So it's trapped up in that pipe and continually gets pushed out. So we're going to attach that here in a second, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so we've cleaned both ends of the pipe. They're relatively clean. we've got our pipe glue here. Don't get this stuff on you and don't inhale it too much if you can help it, because it is it's a mess and it is toxic. But you're going to just go ahead and wrap it around the outside of your pipe here. Liberally coat it. And it does have a working time, so you want to work fairly quickly, and then put a little bit on the inside too. And then most crucially is when you seat this, make sure that you turn it as you seat it so the glue is universally applied underneath. And there we go. So that's seated. Okay? You can leave the remainder on there because it'll just it'll dry hard like that. And that's all the pipe glue we're gonna use for this project. Now, check valve. Remember, the check valve needs to face down. It should open when water is flowing from your pump so that water can go up, and then close when it's coming down. If you have it the wrong way, your sump is not going to work very good at all. So this is how the next piece of the check valve goes on here. It's just a rubber fitting. Goes over the end of your pipe. You want to put that on there as firmly as possible, and then you've got your helpers down here today. So you want to put these where you can get to them. So this sump is going to be sitting like this. So if I ever want to take it off again, I want to be able to unscrew these without having a lot of difficulty. So I'm going to put the screw facing the way I have to get to it. There we go. You don't want to over tighten these because you can crush the pipe. But you do want to get them tight enough so it's not going to come off of there or leak water. All right, and then your next one, make sure you put this one on here first before you attach this. And then the next part of your sump, our check valve, goes in here just like that. And it has a flow direction on it, so if you're confused or not sure, there's an arrow that points up. That's the flow direction on this particular check valve. You want to have it about a foot from the bottom of your sump. So mine's probably a little over a foot here, but not a major deal, just as long as it's at least a foot up and not too much higher than that. You don't want too much water flowing back into your sump. And again, the main reason I put the check valve on is so that next time I take the sump out, if I have to replace it again, or whoever has to replace it, they don't have to cut pipes, they can just unscrew this. Okay, so now our check valve is in place. I'm going to tighten that down nicely. For ease, I've already tightened the one on the top of the check valve, so that the only other one I have to put on now is going to be this one that's going to attach to the PVC coming down in here. So now all I have to do is submerge this in the tank, plug it in, attach the check valve, and we should be good to go. So that's where we'll go next. So I just wanted to compare the two of these. They're both Everbuilt. This one's 15 years old, so it lasted 15 years, and it just started to fail, and it's this switch right here. You can see how much pressure it takes to get that switch to go off, whereas this one, I mean, it just goes off. So the float comes up, and it just takes too much pressure, that switch is failing.
Actually 18 years old.
But 18-year-old pump, pretty dang good. So I went with another Everbuilt. It was about 148 bucks. It's 3/10 horsepower. I'm sure it'll do fine. It'll last me another 15 years, and I'm happy with that. So it's got a 5-year warranty on it. 21-foot lift capacity. That means it'll pump water at least 21 feet up. We're not going to do that. Although depending on your basement needs, you may need to go that high or higher. So we'll see how it goes. I got to get this thing installed, and just waiting on the pipe glue to dry a little bit, and we'll put it in there and pump some water out. Now we're going to drop this sump pump down in there, reconnect the pipes, and plug it in and make sure it works. So gently place it down in the hole, approximately where the previous one was. And that's just air being pushed out of the sump. Make sure the travel of the float can float good. Bring the pipe over to the appropriate location here. Okay. Okay, we've lined up the pipes. Took a little bit of doing. And we're going to tighten the clamps. Again, you don't want to tighten them too tight. You don't want to crush the pipe. You do want to get them on straight.
Okay, so we're going to plug it in and hopefully no leaks.
There it goes. Draining the water. No leaks that I can see. As you can see, there's quite a bit of water coming out of that pipes.
So, there it goes. Drain it near to the bottom. And your sump pump is installed and working correctly. Can you see it on this side?
So, as you can see, if you can see down in here, this little bobber, as that fills up, that bobber's going to come up. And once it does, the pump will kick on again. And all of that water will be pushed out of there. So let's just wait and make sure it works. The bobber should be, the float should be coming up. There it goes. Just turn it on. So I'm going to hold the float up a little bit so I can see how much mud's in the bottom of this. Quite a bit. So what we do, before we finish here, I'm going to get something to scoop all that mud out of here.
A couple of quick tips. Make sure the sump pump that you're installing and the one you take out are both unplugged when you're working on them. Don't want you to get electrocuted or hurt. Please remember, I am not a certified electrician or plumber, and these are what I did for my house. Your results may vary. You may want to consult someone who's got more knowledge on this stuff before you go ahead and do it. And you may want to put on some protective equipment like gloves and glasses or safety goggles or some sort of chemical suit if you're worried about those things. And most importantly, God bless our troops and God bless America.